Here we go, Skinscast. John here with another video segment. The topic this day is, should they replace the grass at FedExField with turf? I started to do a video on this a week or so ago, and then I accidentally screwed up my computer, and then I lost it. So now I'm glad I waited because there was a new story that came out. Basically, at the end of the year, at the playoffs game, well, even before the playoff game, people were talking about the poor conditions at FedExField. I actually was following the Dallas game to close the season, regular season out. And then, of course, the playoff game, RG3 aggravated his injury, just made it 20 times worse, and it was all the slipping and sliding of the mud field. It was very, very tore up. And so a lot of people conjectured at the time, would the Redskins consider a turf field, right? And so then a report came out a week or two ago that said, no, they're not going to do it. But then most recently, like a day or two ago, right around the 1st of March, some turf manufacturer came out and said that they had been in discussions with the Redskins over, putting a turf product in the field, to which the Redskins replied by saying, no, that's not true. All that happened was they sent the team a brochure, but that there were no serious discussions about going to turf. So here's my take on it. I'm glad as hell. It's not that I'm an old-fashioned purist who thinks that football should be played outdoors in, under the sun and on grass, although I do believe all of that. It's that I've actually, I had some experience being around turf field and I wasn't impressed. Back in 2007, the Redskins scrimmaged the Ravens, which used to happen all the time since they're so close to one another. And we went to M&T. I was covering, and I had photography duty that day, so we were at M&T Stadium, and I was down on the field to take a picture of the scrimmage. And anyone who's from this region or has been in this region in August knows that Baltimore, Washington, it gets quite warm. Usually mid-90s. It'll be mid-90s on average Fahrenheit in this region. But on the field that day, they had this thermometer by the side on the wall next to the field, and that thing read 115 degrees. And it's because the turf, as nice and pretty as it is, just reflects the heat right up on the players. And in this part of the world, it stays really warm and through September and into October time. It's not uncommon to have days in the 90s in October. So I just feel like it can't be good for the players. They probably get saps their energies. We'll probably see a lot more soft muscle type injuries, hamstrings and such in those, and with all that intense, massive heat. So for that reason, I'm not a big fan. The other thing is that even though it's very pretty to look at and it's a very tight weave, basically you have these blades, very thin blades of very short artificial grass, but in between it, and you've seen this on TV, I'm sure, are these black rubber pellets. And when someone gets tackled and there's contact onto the surface, you'll see the pellets get kicked up. And a lot of times what I understand is that this will get in the eyes of players, making tackles and such. And then they have to try to rinse it out, and it's very uncomfortable. It's very much of a distraction. So I don't like that. I think there's nothing better than a well cared for grass field, and for safety, for footing, for all of the above. It's maybe not as cushioned as Springy's, but I think there's probably some other things that turf introduces, some other difficulties or complications. The other thing I would say is that field conditions are the same for both teams. So whether it's wet, whether it's dry, whether it's hard, soft, whatever, both teams have to contend with it. So there's a chance that maybe it's just FedExField. It's not grass. It's not that they need to rip it out and put turf in. Maybe they just need to do it better. There's other stadiums that do it much better, outdoor stadiums. Even one writer remarked last year that late in the year, Maryland's field was much better than FedExField, which is probably true. But, when I think back, I think they've been playing a lot more college stuff at FedExField. I think that they have Kenny Chesney and other artists come through and give concerts. And I think that it's hard to grow grass when it's, late when it's in wintertime. Late December and January, it's just hard to grow grass and repair the field. So I think all those things above, but I don't think the answer is necessarily ripping it out and putting turf in. I just think you need to do it better, maybe do some fewer events on the field. So that's my take on it. I hope they stay with grass. It looks like they're staying with grass. So that's our video this week. This is John from Skinscast. Please give us feedback, questions, whatever. Feedback at skinscast.com. We'll talk to you next time on Skinscast Video.